The planet Lumea floated like a blue diamond in the dark space. Its skies glowed with silver light, and its tall crystal cities shone like stars even during the night. But not everyone on Lumea felt bright. Deep inside the shining world lived a small alien named Rila, no taller than a human child. Her skin shimmered with soft light, her eyes bright like tiny moons, yet she felt invisible. Every morning Rila stood near the crystal lake, where the males of her kind gathered to show their strength. They lifted glowing stones, raced across the water on light boards, and laughed loudly. Rila tried to join them, but each time she did, the laughter grew sharper. "Too small,"
one alien male shouted.
"She cannot even lift a single glowstone," said another. "She dreams too much," a third one said, shaking his head. Rila smiled, pretending the words did not cut her heart. But every word felt like a sharp shard of crystal. She wanted someone, anyone known, to see her not as weak but as alive. She worked in the gardens of light where flowers opened when touched by song. She sang softly and the blossoms opened in colors that no one had ever seen before. But still, when she turned to show the others, no one cared. That night she walked to the edge of the lake again. The moon of Lumea floated above, so close she felt she could touch it. The water rippled with her reflection, but she hardly recognized herself. "Why am I never enough?" she whispered. Her voice vanished into the silence of the night. Only the wind answered, carrying dust from the stars. Rila looked up, her heart heavy yet full of wonder. The stars were the only ones that seemed to listen to her dreams. "If there is someone out there," she said softly, "someone who sees me, please. Let me find them." For a moment everything was still. Then the sky cracked. It started as a faint streak of light like a falling star. But the streak grew larger, brighter, and closer until it burned across the heavens like fire. A deep roar shook the air. The ground trembled beneath her feet. Rila fell to her knees, eyes wide. The glowing fireball screamed through the clouds and crashed beyond the crystal hills, turning night into day. The blast sent waves across the lake and tore the air with thunder. The citizens of Lumea screamed and ran. "A star has fallen!" they shouted. "The sky is broken." But Rila did not run. She stood frozen, staring at the smoke rising from the far valley. Something inside her heart, a small voice, whispered, "Go there." Her feet moved before her mind could stop them. She ran through the silent streets, past glowing towers and frightened faces. The air grew heavy with smoke and the smell of burned metal. When she reached the edge of the valley, her heart beat like thunder. In the middle of the blackened ground lay something no one on Lumea had ever seen before. A ship. Not crystal, not made by Lumian hands. Its metal was dark and rough, scratched by the stars themselves. Sparks flickered from its broken sides. Rila stepped closer, feeling fear and curiosity twist inside her. Then she heard it. A sound. A weak cry, low and painful, coming from inside the wreck. Her light flickered with shock. Someone was alive inside. Rila hesitated. The rules of her people were clear. Do not touch what falls from the sky. It may bring ruin. But the voice called again, softer this time, like a fading breath. Without thinking, Rila climbed onto the wreckage. The metal burned her hands, but she didn't stop. She found a cracked window and peered inside. There, in the dim light, lay a creature unlike any she had ever seen. It had no shimmering skin, no glowing eyes. Its body was rough, pale, and covered with torn fabric. Blood, red blood, marked its arm. Rila gasped. "What are you?" she whispered. The creature's lips moved. She leaned closer and heard a faint sound, a single word. "Help." Her heart pounded, it spoke. It was alive. Behind her she heard voices. Lumine guards were coming. "Stay away from that thing," one shouted. "It's from beyond. It could destroy us all." But Rila didn't move. She pressed her hand against the broken glass. "Hold on," she whispered. "I'll help you." The creature's hand slowly lifted and touched the glass from the other side. Their fingers almost met, only a thin layer of shattered crystal between them. At that moment, Rila felt something strange. A pulse of warmth, a connection deeper than words. It was as if the stars themselves had answered her wish. The guards shouted again, running toward her. But she didn't look back. She looked only at the wounded stranger from the sky, the one who had fallen into her world like a burning star. And she knew her life would never be the same again. Far above, The stars shimmered brighter as if watching, and in the smoky valley of Lumea, a small alien and a broken human met, two lonely hearts beneath a shattered sky. The smoke from the fallen ship still curled into the bright sky of Lumea. The air was thick with the smell of burned metal and dust. Around the crash site, guards in glowing armor formed a wide circle holding long staffs that pulsed with blue energy. Their faces showed fear, not bravery. They all whispered the same thing. A creature from the stars had fallen. But Rila did not whisper. She was already inside the broken ship, climbing through twisted metal and sparks. Her small hands glowed with soft light as she crawled through the narrow passage. Each sound of cracking metal made her heart race, but she kept moving. The creature, the human, lay in the corner of the ship. His eyes were closed, his breathing slow and weak. Blood ran down his arm. His face looked strange, almost peaceful even while hurt. Rila reached him and touched his hand. It was warm, rough and heavy. She had never touched anything like it before. "Don't die," she whispered. "Please." She pressed her glowing fingers over his wound. Her light spread into his skin, soft and golden. The wound began to close slowly, the bleeding stopped. The man groaned in pain and opened his eyes for a moment. When his eyes met hers, she froze. They were not glowing like Lumian's eyes. They were deep and human, full of something she couldn't explain. "Who are you?" he said weakly. "I'm Rila," she answered softly. "You fell from the sky." He gave a tired laugh. "Then, I'm lucky you found me." His voice was rough and human, but gentle. Rila helped him sit up, though his body shook. "You need rest," she said quickly. "My people, they don't understand. They fear you." Outside, the guard shouted her name, Rila of the Gardens. "Step away from the ship. You will bring danger upon Lumea." Rila looked toward the door, her light flickering nervously. Then she looked back at the man. His breathing grew slower again. She couldn't leave him. "What's your name?" she asked softly. "Eli," he whispered. "Eli Grant. From Earth." She didn't know the name, but she liked how it sounded. Earth. It felt alive. The guards began striking the ship's metal, trying to open it. Rila looked around quickly. There was a side passage, a small opening that led to the forest valley. Without another thought, she helped Eli stand. He stumbled, but she caught him with her small arms. Her glowing light surrounded them both. "Stay quiet," she whispered. "We must go." They slipped out through the broken side of the ship just before the guards broke in. Rila led Eli into the forest, running as fast as she could. Her feet barely touched the glowing ground. Behind them, voices shouted and the sound of boots echoed through the trees. Eli's breath was heavy, but he didn't stop. "Where are we going?" he asked. "Somewhere safe," she said. "The caves under the light mountains. No one will find us there." They reached the edge of the valley where tall crystal vines grew from the ground. Rila touched one and it opened like a door, revealing a dark tunnel. "Inside," she said quickly. Eli followed her into the glowing tunnel. The vines closed behind them, sealing the way. The world outside went silent. Inside the cave, blue light flowed along the walls. Rila helped Eli sit down. His face was pale, his eyes half closed. She placed her hands on his chest and hummed softly, a healing song that made the light around them dance. Eli opened his eyes again, slowly. "You saved me," he whispered. Rila looked down shyly. "I couldn't let you die. You fell alone." "Like me?" he smiled faintly. "Like you?" She nodded. "No one on my world wants me. They think I am too small, too weak, but I still hope to be seen. When I saw you, I knew you needed someone to see you too." For a long moment, Eli said nothing. Then he looked at her glowing face and whispered, "Thank you, Rila." Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. The Lumian Council had declared a curfew. They wanted the strange creature captured, dead or alive. Word spread fast. A human had fallen from the stars. Rila and Eli sat in silence as the night deepened. The cave hummed with quiet energy. Eli looked around and said softly, "I've seen many worlds, but never one like this. Your planet. It's beautiful." Rila smiled faintly. "You should see it when it rains. The rain turns to light." He closed his eyes, listening to her voice. "I'd like to see that." For a moment, everything was peaceful. Two lonely beings sharing quiet breaths in a glowing cave. But outside, danger was growing. The Lumian guards had found Eli's signal device inside the wreck. A small red light blinked on its surface, A message had already been sent into the stars. It was calling others. Rila didn't know it yet, but her act of kindness had already changed everything. Somewhere in deep space, humans had received the distress call. They were coming, and when they arrived, no part of Lumea would ever be the same again. The twin suns of Lumea rose slowly, painting the crystal mountains in gold and blue. The world looked calm from afar, but deep below the light-filled valleys, two fugitives hid in the shadows. Rila and Eli. The small alien sat near a glowing pool, her light dim with worry. She had not slept since the night she helped Eli escape the wreck. His wounds were better now, but his strength had not fully returned. Eli sat nearby, watching the strange blue crystals that grew from the cave walls. "It's like living inside a lantern," he said softly. Rila smiled faintly. "A dangerous lantern," she replied. "My people are searching for us. They believe you are a threat." Eli turned to her. "Are they right?" She shook her head quickly. "No, I saw your eyes. You don't want harm. But they don't see hearts, only fear." Silence filled the air for a moment. The hum of the crystal sounded like a faraway song. Then Eli spoke again. "Back home, people said aliens would destroy us. Funny thing, yet you saved me instead." Rila looked down, shy. Maybe we both were lied to. Above them, the Lumian capital burned with alarm. Posters of Rila's glowing face appeared on every light pillar. "Traitor to Lumea," the words read, "harboring a creature from beyond." The Council of Radiance met in a tall glass tower. The leader, High Speaker Velren, spoke with a voice that echoed across the hall. "She has broken our laws," he said. "The human must be captured before more of his kind arrive. Their signal has been sent into the void. Do you believe they will come?" another asked. Velren looked out the window at the stars. "They always come. That is what humans do. They come and they take." Back in the caves, Rila's small communicator flashed red, the signal of her own people. She sighed. "They know I'm alive. They know I'm with you." Eli frowned. "Then we can't stay here," Rila nodded. "There's an old passage beneath these caves. It leads to the far side of the mountains. There's a hidden port there, a place where outcasts trade and flee. If we reach it, we might find a ship." "Let's go," Eli said, standing up with effort. Rila gave him a cloak woven from glowing moss. "Hide your skin. The light of humans is too dull. They'll notice." Eli laughed softly. "I'll take that as a compliment." They began their journey through the lower tunnels. The air grew colder, the walls darker. Strange shapes moved in the distance, shadows that watched but did not attack. "Don't fear them," Rila whispered. "They are forgotten ones. Exiled like me." Eli nodded, following her steps. "Do they hate Lumea too?" "They fear it. The light of our world burns those who live in shadow." For hours they walked until they reached a wide chamber glowing with golden mist. In the center stood a broken transport pod, half buried in rock. Rila ran to it and placed her hand on the control pad. The old machine hummed to life. "It still works," she said in surprise. "This could take us to the outer rim." Eli stepped closer. "Then let's move before they find us." But before they could enter, a loud voice echoed through the chamber. "Too late, traitor." Dozens of armored Lumian soldiers appeared from the tunnels, their staffs glowing with fierce blue light. Behind them stood High Speaker Velren himself. "Rila of the Gardens," he said coldly. "You bring shame to our people. Hand over the human." Rila stepped in front of Eli, her small form glowing brighter. "He means no harm, Speaker. He was hurt. I only helped. You disobeyed the council. You brought a plague upon us," Velren shouted. "When his kind arrive, they will bring war." Eli's voice was steady but quiet. "We don't want war. I didn't choose to fall here," Velren sneered. "Lies. Humans always lie." He raised his staff and blue energy flared. Rila spread her hands wide, forming a shield of golden light. The power from the staff struck her barrier with a blinding flash. The cave shook. Crystals shattered, raining sparks everywhere. Eli pulled Rila back toward the transport pod. "Go, get inside." She turned the controls quickly, her light merging with the machine. The pod roared awake, engines screaming. Velren's voice thundered, "You will doom us all." The pod lifted off just as energy blasts tore through the cave. The shockwave threw the soldiers to the ground. Rila's light flared so bright it filled the sky as the pod shot upward, breaking through the mountain and vanishing into the clouds. Inside, Eli sat beside her, breathing hard. "You saved us again." Rila looked out at the stars appearing in the distance. No, she said softly. I only bought us time. Eli frowned. What do you mean? She turned to him, her eyes full of light and fear. When your ship crashed, it sent a message into space. Soon your people will come, and when they do, my world will fight back. Eli looked at her in silence. The stars outside looked peaceful, but both of them knew peace never lasted long. As the pod drifted into the dark sky, Rila whispered, Now we are both outcasts, running from two worlds. Eli reached out, resting his hand over hers. Then we'll run together. The small alien smiled, though her eyes glistened. The stars above shimmered brighter, watching the two fugitives flee into the unknown, unaware that their escape had just begun a story that would shake the entire galaxy. The stolen transport pod drifted through the endless dark of space. Outside its windows, stars shimmered like frozen rain. Inside, Rila sat quietly at the controls while Eli slept beside her, wrapped in a blanket of silver fabric. His breathing was calm now, but his face showed the weight of too many worlds. Rila stared at him for a long time. She had never met a creature who looked so different, yet felt so familiar. His eyes, his voice, even his broken smile, all seemed more real than anything she had known on Lumea. The small alien touched the console gently. The pod hummed and changed course toward the edge of the star map. Beyond that line lay the Forbidden Zone, a stretch of stars no Lumean dared to cross. It was said to swallow ships whole, leaving only silence behind. But Rila knew they had no choice. Behind them, Lumean warships were searching every corner of the system. And somewhere ahead, human rescue vessels were answering the signal Eli's ship had sent. If the two sides met, it would mean war. Eli woke with a faint groan. Where are we? He asked. Far from Lumea, Rila answered softly. And going farther still. He looked out the window, eyes wide at the sea of stars. It's beautiful. But dangerous, isn't it? Yes, she said. Everything beyond this point is forbidden. Even our maps end here. Eli smiled weakly. Then we'll draw our own map. Rila tilted her head, confused but touched. Humans spoke with strange courage, she thought, like they believed hope could be built from nothing. Hours passed. The pod's fuel lights blinked red. Rila frowned. We're losing power. The core wasn't made for long flights. Eli leaned forward. Is there any place nearby to stop? She checked the scanner. There's a trade station on the edge of the drift belt, but... She hesitated. But what? It's a place for outlaws. Smugglers, pirates, and exiles. They hate both humans and Lumeans, Eli shrugged. Then they'll love us both. Rila laughed for the first time in days. You are strange, she said softly. You joke even when you're hunted. It's the only way to stay human, he said with a smile. When they reached the trade station, it floated like a dead moon. Metal towers hanging in darkness, neon lights flickering faintly. Rila guided the pod into one of the docking bays. The air inside smelled of oil, smoke, and secrets. They walked through narrow corridors where aliens of every kind passed, tall, horned beings, silver-scaled traders, and shadowy figures with glowing masks. Every eye turned toward them. Rila pulled her hood low. Don't speak, she whispered to Eli. They'll hear your voice and know. They reached a market filled with stolen tech and glowing crystals. Rila approached a stall run by a thin, sharp-eyed alien with metallic skin. I need a power core, she said. The merchant narrowed his eyes. You're Lumean, aren't you? You shouldn't be here. I have credits, she replied firmly. He leaned closer, sniffing the air. And the one behind you, he smells human. Eli tensed. Rila stepped in front of him. He's with me. The merchant laughed coldly. A Lumean and a human? I thought I'd seen every kind of madness in the stars. Before Rila could answer, a loud alarm rang across the station. Red lights flashed. Voices shouted through the speakers. Warning! Incoming fleets detected! Lumean patrols approaching. Rila froze. They found us, she whispered. Eli grabbed her hand. We have to go! The merchant hissed. You brought war to my station. He reached under the counter for a weapon, but Rila's light burst out suddenly, blinding everyone nearby. She pulled Eli through the crowd, running toward the hangar. The alarm grew louder. Explosions echoed outside as ships fired at each other. When they reached their pod, Rila jumped into the pilot's seat and slammed the controls. Hold on! The pod roared to life, lifting into space just as the trade station erupted behind them in flames. Eli looked back at the burning lights. They'll blame us for that. They already do, Rila said softly. No matter where we go, we are unwanted. Eli turned to her, his voice quiet but firm. Not by me, she met his eyes. For a moment the fear around them faded. Not by me either, she whispered. The pod flew past the last star on their map and entered the dark mist of the Forbidden Zone. Strange lights swirled outside the window, shapes that looked alive but were not. The sensors went silent. Eli stared into the mist. What is this place? Rila's voice was low. The edge of everything known. Some say it's where lost souls go to hide. He smiled faintly. Then maybe we belong here. Rila's eyes glowed brighter in the darkness. Maybe we do. The pod drifted deeper, its lights fading slowly. Behind them, two worlds prepared for war. Ahead of them, a mystery waited. A world that would test their courage, their hearts, and the meaning of what it truly meant to be alive. As they vanished into the silent void, the stars outside blinked one by one as if holding their breath for what was yet to come. Darkness surrounded them. The stars disappeared behind the thick gray mist of the Forbidden Zone. The pod floated in silence, engines weak, lights fading. For the first time since their escape, Rila could hear nothing. Not the hum of energy, not the whisper of space. Only her heartbeat. Eli leaned against the window, squinting into the fog. It's like flying through a dream, he murmured. Or a nightmare, Rila whispered. Her light glowed faintly, pushing away the darkness around them. No signals, no readings. It's like the universe forgot this place exists. A faint alarm blinked red on the screen. Fuel 4%, Rila sighed softly. We'll have to land somewhere soon or we'll drift forever. Can you find a planet? Eli asked. Rila tapped the screen, adjusting the scanners. The mist shifted, revealing something in the distance, and a dark sphere almost invisible against the void. There, she said. A planet. No light, no life signs, but it's our only chance. Then let's try it, Eli said. Rila guided the pod through the storm. Lightning of strange colors flashed around them. Violet, green, and silver. It felt like flying through the veins of a living thing. The controls shook violently. The pod hit the atmosphere, flames licking across the glass. Hold on, Rila shouted. The pod screamed as it fell through thick clouds and crashed onto the surface with a thunderous sound. Dust and debris flew everywhere. The world went still again. When Rila opened her eyes, the lights were gone. Only the soft glow from her skin lit the wreck. Eli, she whispered. A faint voice answered. Still here. She crawled toward him. He sat up, bruised but alive. You okay? She nodded. Yes, I think so. They stepped out of the pod. The ground beneath them was black and smooth like glass. No wind, no sound. The air was heavy and cold, and the horizon stretched into endless shadow. Rila's voice trembled. This world, it's dead. Eli knelt down and touched the surface. No, not dead, he said softly. Just sleeping. They began to walk, their footsteps echoing faintly. Every few steps, Rila's glow reflected on metallic ruins half buried in the dark soil. Towers lay broken, machines rusted and twisted. It looked like a city that had once lived, and then vanished. Rila touched one of the walls. It hummed faintly like a heart still beating under stone. This place was alive once, she said. Maybe it still remembers. Eli looked around. If there was life, there might be power too. Maybe we can fix the pod. They followed a trail of glowing symbols etched into the ground, leading toward a large structure shaped like a circle. Inside, strange machines stood silent, covered in dust. In the center was a crystal sphere cracked in half, glowing faintly with golden light. Rila approached it slowly. It's an ancient core, she said. I've read about these. They store energy for thousands of years. Eli smiled weakly. Then let's hope it still works. As she touched the crystal, light burst out, flooding the room. The walls came alive with motion. Gears turned, screens flickered, and faint voices echoed in alien tongues. The ground shook as the machines powered up after centuries of silence. Eli stepped back. What did you do? I think I woke it, Rila whispered. The light grew brighter, spreading through the ruins like veins of fire. Then came a deep rumbling sound. From the shadows around them, shapes began to move. Machines tall and skeletal, their eyes glowing red. Rila, Eli said quietly. I think the planet just noticed us. The machines turned their heads in perfect unison. One of them spoke in a metallic voice. Intruders. Biological contamination detected, Rila's heart raced. They think we're a threat. A blast of energy struck the wall beside them, leaving a burning mark. Eli grabbed her hand. Run! They ran through the broken halls as beams of light followed them. The air was filled with the sound of heavy steps and metal screams. Rila's glow pulsed brighter, lighting the way through the maze of ruins. They reached a narrow passage and ducked inside just before a blast hit the doorway. Eli leaned against the wall, breathing hard. We can't fight those things. Rila looked at the glowing lines running along the ground. Maybe I can talk to them. My light is made of energy. Maybe the same kind that powers this world. That's too dangerous, Eli said. I have to try, she insisted. If we run forever, we'll die tired. If I can calm them, maybe we live. Before he could stop her, she stepped into the open and raised her hands. Her body glowed brighter than ever, golden light flooding the ruins. The machines froze. Their red eyes flickered. The largest one spoke again, its tone different now, almost calm. Energy. Familiar. Lumen origin detected. Identity unknown. Rila closed her eyes, her voice soft. We mean no harm. We only seek life. We only seek hope. For a moment there was silence. Then the machines lowered their weapons. The lights around them dimmed. Eli ran to her, catching her as she fell. Her glow faded, her small body weak. Rila! He shouted, her voice was faint. It's all right. I reached them. They will help us, he held her close, his heart pounding. Around them, the machines began to repair the broken systems. One of them placed a glowing sphere beside Eli, a new power core humming with life. He looked down at Rila's pale face. You did it, he whispered. You saved us again, she smiled weakly. We saved each other. As the machines rebuilt their world, the silent planet began to awaken, lights returning to towers, air stirring with new life. And somewhere above, far beyond the mist, human and Lumian fleets drew closer, unaware that two small hearts had just changed the fate of an ancient world. The ancient machines worked in silence around them, their metal bodies glowing with soft blue light. The dead world was no longer silent, it was awakening. The ruins hummed with new energy, powered by the same crystal Rila had reactivated. But Rila herself was fading. She lay near the pod, her skin dim, her eyes flickering like the last flame in a dying lamp. Every time she breathed, a faint shimmer of gold left her lips and vanished into the air. Eli sat beside her, his hand clutching hers tightly. You need rest, he said, though his voice trembled. Rila smiled weakly. I'm fine, just tired. The light inside me is smaller now. I gave some of it to wake this world. You shouldn't have, he whispered. You risked your life again. I did what I had to, she said softly. You wouldn't understand. Lumians are born from light. It's what we are. But when that light runs out... She paused, her voice almost breaking. We disappear. Eli's jaw tightened. No, I won't let that happen. She looked at him gently. You can't fight what stars decide. Outside, the sky of the planet changed. The thick gray mist began to clear, revealing distant stars. One of them glowed brighter than the rest, a burning, moving light. Eli looked up. His stomach dropped. That's a ship. Rila turned her head slowly. Her dim eyes widened. It's human. The distress signal had worked. The human rescue fleet had finally arrived, and it wasn't alone. Behind it, more bright dots appeared in the sky, Lumian warships chasing their ancient fear. Rila's weak voice trembled. If they meet here, they'll destroy everything. This planet will burn. Eli stood up, his mind racing. We can stop them. The machines here, maybe they can shield the world, block their scanners. Rila shook her head. The power's unstable. The crystal core can protect the planet, but it will take life energy. He looked at her in horror. No, not yours again. She didn't answer. Instead, she touched the crystal lying beside the pod, the one the machines had given them. Its glow pulsed, warm and alive. If I give it my light, she said, the planet will live, and maybe they'll both see the truth before they kill each other. Eli grabbed her shoulders. You already gave enough. You'll vanish, Rila. She smiled softly, tears shining in her eyes. You taught me what love is. Love isn't about keeping yourself safe. It's about giving, even when it hurts. He stared at her, unable to speak. The machines around them began to hum louder, sensing the growing tension in the sky. The ground trembled as both fleets entered orbit. Rila stepped toward the energy core, her small figure glowing faintly in the cold wind. Eli followed, his heart pounding. "If you do this, you die." "If I do it, maybe I don't." She turned to him. "Your body isn't made for this energy. It will tear you apart." He took a deep breath. "Then we'll do it together." Her lips parted in shock. "Together?" He nodded. "Your light, my life, both as one. Maybe we balance it. Maybe we both live." For a moment, silence. Then Rila's eyes filled with tears again, not of fear, but of wonder. "Eli, no one ever offered to share the light with me before." He smiled faintly. "Then I'll be the first." They placed their hands on the crystal. Golden and red light spiraled together, swirling like two hearts beating in unison. Energy surged through them, heat, pain, brilliance. Rila gasped as her light flared wildly. Eli screamed as fire coursed through his veins. The machines formed a circle around them, channeling the power upward. A beam of gold and crimson shot into the sky, wrapping the entire planet in a shimmering shield. In space, the human and Lumian fleets stopped mid-charge, blinded by the sudden burst of light. Alarms rang, sensors overloaded. Through the glow, both sides saw the same thing, a planet shining with two colors as if love itself had taken form. Inside the beam, Rila fell to her knees. Her light flickered, then steadied. Eli dropped beside her, breathing hard, his eyes glowing faintly gold. "Rila," he whispered. "You're still here." She touched his face. "And so are you." Their lights blended, forming a warm glow that spread across the ground. Around them, the machines knelt, their voices humming softly, repeating a single word in an ancient language. Unity. Above, the fleets began to retreat slowly, unsure of what they had seen. Neither side fired another shot. When the beam faded, the planet was quiet again. The mist was gone. The stars shone brighter than ever. Rila leaned against Eli, her voice barely a whisper. "You shared your life with me. Now we are one." Eli looked at his hand. His veins shimmered faintly with golden light, her light. "Looks like I'm part Lumian now." She smiled weakly. "And I am part human." He brushed a strand of glowing hair from her face. "Then maybe we just became something new." Rila's eyes closed gently, but this time, it wasn't from pain, and it was peace. The machines fell silent again, watching as two lights merged under the awakening sky, one born of stars, the other born of Earth, bound forever by love that crossed galaxies. Far above them, the stars whispered quietly, as if the universe itself bowed to the smallest two beings who taught it something new, that even light can learn to love. Dawn came slowly to the once dead world. For the first time in centuries, sunlight touched its surface. Golden rays spread across the black glass plains, lighting up the ruins and the awakened machines standing like silent guardians. In the heart of that reborn world, two figures rested side by side. Rila, the tiny alien who carried the light of Lumea, and Eli, the human who shared his life to save hers. When Rila opened her eyes, she saw the morning sky for the first time since they crashed. But this sky was different. It was soft and bright, painted with silver clouds. Her body no longer glowed the same as before. Her light had changed, gentler, warmer, and faintly human. She looked at Eli. He was still, his face calm, his chest rising slowly. But his skin shimmered faintly with threads of gold beneath it. He had kept her light alive inside him. "Eli," she whispered, touching his hand. He stirred, eyes opening slowly. They were no longer just blue. They shimmered with a golden hue like sunrise over the ocean. He smiled faintly. "You're still here?" "So are you," she said softly, smiling back. "You didn't vanish." "I couldn't," he replied. "I promised I'd stay." They sat together in silence, listening to the sound of life returning, wind sweeping through the ruins, machines humming in gentle rhythm, and a soft pulse from the planet's heart. The world itself seemed to breathe again. Above them, space was full of light. Human and Lumian ships hung on opposite sides of the planet, both waiting, both afraid. No one fired a single shot. Inside the Lumian flagship, high-speaker Velran stood before a massive screen, staring at the planet glowing below. "Impossible," he murmured. "The silent planet lives," his aide spoke in fear. Our scanners show energy beyond any known spectrum, and 2 life forms at its center. Velren frowned. 2? Yes, 1 human, 1 Lumian. But their signals, the aide hesitated. Their signals are combined. Velren turned sharply. Combined? What do you mean? Their energy reads as one, like one being made from both. For the first time in his long life, Velren had no words. On the human ship, Captain Rhodes received the same report. Commander, our sensors show a merged bioenergy field on the surface. A hybrid signature. Hybrid? The commander asked. Yes, sir. It's human and Lumian energy, both alive, both together. Captain Rhodes leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Open a channel to the Lumian fleet. They need to see this too. Back on the planet, Rila and Eli stood near the crystal ruins. The machines had formed a ring around them, humming softly, projecting their image into the sky. A message carried to every ship above. Rila looked up nervously. They're watching. Eli squeezed her hand. Then let them see what love looks like. Her heart trembled, but she nodded. She stepped forward, her voice gentle but strong, carried through the machine's network into the stars. People of Lumea, people of Earth, she began. You came here ready to destroy each other. You were afraid, just like I was once. But fear is only darkness waiting for light. She looked at Eli and her smile deepened. This human showed me that love isn't about shape or skin or the world you come from. It's about what you see inside. Eli stepped beside her, his golden-tinged eyes bright. We've been taught to fight what we don't understand. But when I looked at her, I didn't see an alien. I saw someone who cared more than anyone I'd ever met. He turned his gaze upward, voice echoing strong. You can kill each other today or you can start again, as more than what you were yesterday. The message spread across the fleets. Soldiers, pilots, and leaders listened in silence. The human ship's sensors glowed brighter as both energy signatures, Ryla's and Eli's, merged into a beautiful wave of gold and blue, spreading across space like sunrise over darkness. On every screen, the message appeared in bright letters translated into countless languages. Unity through love. Velren lowered his head. The hard lines of pride on his face softened. She was right, he whispered. The smallest among us saw the truth we could not. Captain Rhodes stood in silence, his eyes fixed on the shining planet. Maybe this was never a war, he said quietly. Maybe it was a lesson. On the surface, the machines bowed to Rila and Eli. The golden light from the sky slowly faded, replaced by the calm warmth of dawn. Rila leaned against Eli's shoulder, her voice soft. Do you think they'll listen? He smiled. They already have. She looked at him, half human now, half light, and felt peace for the first time in her life. Then maybe, she whispered, this is what forever feels like. He took her hand and looked at the glowing horizon. Forever starts now. The planet's rebuilt towers began to shine again, each one pulsing like a heartbeat. The machines released flocks of tiny drones that carried seeds of light into the atmosphere. Clouds formed, and for the first time in thousands of years, it began to rain. Drops of golden water falling gently on the dark soil, bringing new life. From the sky, the planet no longer looked silent or dead. It blazed with gold and blue, 2 colors intertwined, a beacon between 2 civilizations that had once hated each other. The humans called it the Dawn Planet. The Lumians named it Home of the Bridge, but to Rila and Eli, it was simply the place where love won. As they stood hand in hand beneath the golden rain, their hearts beating as one, the galaxy itself seemed to pause, to remember them. The small ones who taught it a truth greater than power or fear, that even in the vast, cold dark of space, love can start a new dawn.